everyone, it's AAEBAQcE here again. Welcome back for another video. Now I just wanted to start off by saying that I hope you're all keeping safe and well wherever you are, given this whole coronavirus outbreak. Things are getting a little bit scary here in the UK. The media is going into panic mode. People are going into panic mode. For example, hand sanitizer gel, you cannot buy it anywhere. It's all sold out in the shops, and whenever they get new stock in, people just snap it all up really quickly. People are panicking, and this situation, I hope it all blows over within a couple of months as we head into the warmer weather with the spring season. But wherever you are, I hope you're all taking precautions to stay safe. Anyway, today we're playing JumpyWizard's Dead Man's Hand Hakkar N'Zoth Warrior. Yes, that's quite the mouthful. This deck has board clears in terms of double Brawl, double Plague of Wrath, double Warpath. This deck has taunts with Card-Type Defender and Deathlord. This deck has N'Zoth the Corruptor. And along with Dead Man's Hand, if you are careful with how you play Dead Man's Hand, you can get multiple copies of N'Zoth the Corruptor, which means getting multiple taunts back to life again and again and again. Why is that helpful? Well, yes, with Dead Man's Hand, you will go infinite. You will never fatigue with this deck. But with shuffling Corrupted Bloods into your own deck, having access to multiple Card-Type Defenders through multiple waves of N'Zoth is always very, very helpful, because Corrupted Blood will do damage to you as well as to your opponent. So having those Card-Type Defenders down means you're always going to be healing. So just something to think about there. So let's have a look at the deck in action here on the Wild Mode ladder, starting out against a Pirate Warrior. Okay, so I was looking for any excuse to play Hakkar, and there we go, there's Hakkar. Very rare that you get to play Hakkar against an aggro deck. You just never have the time. So I had been making bad plays up to this point, because I didn't want my opponent to concede, because I was just looking for any excuse to get Hakkar down to the board. Now what you'll see is another bad play. We're just going to waste some resources here, because I want to kill off Hakkar, just to get those Corrupted Bloods shuffled. So we have a respectable health total. Ping and pass, sure. Oh, there's a bomb. Sure. So Dead Man's Hand there will serve to dilute my deck a little bit. Perhaps decrease my chances of drawing into more bombs, and decrease my chances of drawing into Corrupted Blood. Alright, so there's going to be a lot of bombs coming our way shortly.
Blood and plunder.
Okay, so nothing much to do here. Now we do have N'Zoth the Corruptor in hand for an emergency situation, if needed. But I have a feeling that the moment I play N'Zoth, he will concede. And I really do not want him to concede. I really want to see Corrupted Blood do some work on him. So we're just going to wait this out.
Trust the pirate's code.
I mean, playing N'Zoth would have been the sensible play, right? If I was playing this game properly. And actually, we're nearly dead. A moment ago, I said we had a respectable health total. Now we're nearly dead. Okay, so we have to play. We have to play N'Zoth. But we could actually still be dead if we draw into those bombs. Oh, there's one bomb. And we don't draw into another one. Oh wow, that's pretty mental.
Versus Gul'dan.
Okay, going up against a Warlock. Now, if this is Mechathun Lock, we lose the game. Our speciality with this deck is playing the long game, outlasting our opponent, going infinite, never hitting fatigue. Mechathun Lock obviously aims to draw through their deck as quickly as possible, pull off their combo. The only way we beat them is if we can use Colite Oracle to mill them. And they mill their important cards, like Mechathun. But otherwise, that game is probably an auto loss. So, classic slow start here for this deck. Now, Implosion is very telling. We know what this is now. And actually, this makes me very happy. This makes me very, very happy. Because this is Darkest Hour Warlock, and I've been seeing this played a lot more recently. This deck excels against Darkest Hour Warlock, because all we need to do is gather our board clears in our hand. So we have Plague of Wrath, we have Brawl, and to be honest, that should be enough. Not sure if using the coin there was absolutely necessary. Deathlord, I don't want to play early on against him, because it dies, it brings out a massive threat. Now, Nerubian Unraveler, that's a problematic card. It makes my spells more expensive, my board clears more expensive. And I do want to be careful with my timing here. I want him to commit as much to the board as possible with his big threat. So I want him to play Darkest Hour, right? I want him to fill that board with big demons, with big minions, so I can just get rid of all of them in one go. If he starts playing them one at a time, it's a bit more awkward for me. So whilst we're waiting for him to fill that board, I mean, usually most of the Darkest Hour Warlocks I face will have pulled off that combo at least by turn 6. This guy seems a bit slower. Not as lucky. Alright, there's Ragnaros. So he is playing these threats now. one at a time. Sure. So, in response to Rag, what do I want to play? I guess Double Deathlord is fine now. And we are going to emote him, because he's a Darkstar Warlock. He deserves to be emoted. So Rag will hit a Deathlord, more than likely. That will put one of his other threats out onto the board. So we are going to force those threats out onto the board, and then we're going to clear them all. Right, there's another one. Ooh, it goes face. Ouch. Okay, Ragnaros, gonna have to work pretty hard now to get to my face, being defended by 4 minions. Come on, put more stuff on the board. Well, that's pretty big. That is pretty big. Wow, Rag goes face again. Interesting. Okay, so at this point, that board is starting to fill up now. Do we want to clear it? I don't think so. I want to get more value from my board clears. We're not in danger of dying anytime soon. Okay, and I'm happy with that Dead Man's Hand. That Dead Man's Hand puts, a couple of board clears back into our deck. It puts N'Zoth back into our deck. That's going to be more than enough to see this game through. In fact, what I have in hand here should be more than enough on its own to see this game through.
I wonder.
Because at most, there will be 2 waves of big threats, and that's it.
Minions, servants, soldiers of the cold Tsar, obey the call of Kel'Thuzad.
Obey the call of Kel'Thuzad. KT, by the way, one of my favourite cards in the game. Alongside Hakkar, alongside Ysera Unleashed. I just wish I could find more reasons to play KT. He's trading. And now Rag goes face. This is a board that needs to be removed. And thankfully, we have the tools to do it. Just need to damage the board. I'm going to use the AoE from the weapon. Right. And he's lost his board. So I'm going to assume there is going to be another Void Lord left to play. Oh, there it is. So I guess now we just go back to waiting. Waiting for him to fill the board with threats again, and then we'll just simply remove him. Okay, he's not waiting around. So, beating Darkest Hour Warlock feels pretty good. So just to confirm that previous game was not a fluke, Let's have a look at another game against a Warlock. I'm not even sure if that mulligan was correct or not. In my head, it sort of makes sense to keep the shield slam in that situation, if I'm also keeping the dry whisker armourer, but don't know if that was correct or not. Okay, so what do we get? Bring it on, Colour Oracle. We mill! Oh dear. We mill, like, what I guess is a relatively important card for him. Because this is another Darkest Hour Warlock. So yes, Darkest Hour Warlock. More common now in the last few weeks for me to face on the ladder. But with this deck, as long as you've got the AoE and the board clears ready, you're fine. You're absolutely fine against Darkest Hour Warlock. And he mills Darkest Hour! Unbelievable! That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. We're actually looking for Brawl and Plague of Wrath. Haven't found it yet. And that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. He milled one copy of Darkest Hour, but he had the other one in hand. That's just crazy. And notice that was a turn 5 Darkest Hour. And I think against most other types of deck, this would now be game over. With, 4 significant threats on the board this early, it would be game over. But we are able to survive. We are able to still go the distance and go the long game. But we still haven't drawn a Brawl or a Plague of Wrath, so we're going to have to stall with some taunts. Can't Up Defender here doesn't actually accomplish that much. It doesn't heal me because I'm at full health, but it will block some face damage. And it will buy us a little bit of time to find the Brawl, to find the Plague of Wrath. So 8 mana.
I wonder.
There's 4 minions on board, so it is an opportunity to gain some armor here. And again, playing a Card Hut Defender that doesn't do a huge amount in terms of healing, but it is another roadblock for a little bit longer. Buys us a little bit more time. At the very least, his spells are more expensive now as well, so he's going to suffer a little bit. Tap last, of course. And there's a Plague of Wrath. That's what we was looking for. A question is now the right time to play it?
What now?
Or can I just afford to stall for a little bit longer? Not all of those minions are injured on the board. Yeah. I think this is fine. I think this is fine. And we'll actually get the Death Lord out. With the idea being that he'll kill it, put out another one of his big threats, and then maybe, just maybe, we will play Plague of Wrath and clear the board. And there he is again, Kel'Thuzad. Alright. So, we're going to have to injure the board here. And we say goodbye to Katie and the Lich King. Oh, that's pretty scary. It's a 10-10.
Let the pain speak to me. Pain speak to me.
So, we're not going infinite there with the shuffle, but we're getting some value back into our deck, and that should be enough to see the game through, but we do have to kill this 10-10. This is going to be quite awkward.
Bring the pain.
We need to draw. And there's an answer.
Bring the pain.
Alright, let's put some roadblocks in the way. At the very least, by the time he works his way through this board, we're going to have healed an awful lot. So, that's certainly helpful. Not had an opportunity in the last game, or in this game, to play Hakkar. But that's fine. We played Hakkar against the Pirate Warrior, of all things. So that was incredibly satisfying. Right, we're back to full health. Wow, he really wanted to do 10 damage to my face there. Oh, there's Hakkar. So an absolutely massive investment on my part there, just to clear that 10-10. Oh, Yashraj. Sure. Doesn't bring anything out though. So I think at this point my opponent is going to be out of threats. Another cute little shuffle there, putting another copy of N'Zoth back into our deck, and we just outvalued him. Okay, joining this glorious game in progress against a Quest Mage, and we have dragged Vargoth out of his deck onto the board and killed him off. That is really, really significant because that is going to limit the amount of damage that the Quest Mage can do. We still have to be fearful of the giants, but we are in less danger, certainly, now that Vargoth has gone.
I wonder.
So one of the things that you may struggle with this deck actually is armor build-up. This is not Odd Warrior, so your hero power for gaining armor only gives you 2 armor. With Odd Warrior you get 4. You do have shield block, you do have the Dry Whisker Armourer, but Dry Whisker Armourer is contingent on there being enemy minions on the board.
I'll show them.
If there aren't many or any enemy minions, Dry Whisker Armourer is useless for gaining armor. So really then you're relying on Bring It On and Shield Block as your big armor gain. So he's got a discount. That does scare me a little bit. He still hasn't completed the quest though. So ping and pass, sure. Okay. I don't want the coin shuffled into the deck. So I'm happy to just waste the coin away there. We can just go infinite now because we've shuffled Dead Man's Hand into the deck whilst there is a copy of Dead Man's Hand in our hand. So we are going to get these slowly but surely multiple copies of N'Zoth, and actually multiple copies of N'Zoth does mean that we get those walls of taunts back to life on the board again and again and again. That will block the way against the giants. Oh wow. Mirror Entity. Sure.
You want to cast a spell? I want to cast a spell.
So if we can build up the taunts and he struggles to get through them, it may force his hand with playing the quest, or Time Warp I should say, with playing Time Warp and putting down a couple of giants. And then we can just clear the board with Brawl or with Plague of Wrath. And Cabal Shadow Priest. Stealing a Death Lord. That is really, really rude. Incredibly rude, if I must say so. But I'm fine with it, honestly. We get the armor while we can. Let's see who survives this brawl. Ah. Of course. Of course. So we're still continuing to stall here. We have three Plague of Wraths in our hand. And with this hero power that does the AoE damage to the board, I think we're going to be absolutely fine going forward. Yeah, that's right. Commit your stuff to the board. Commit it all. Okay. Here's Time Warp.
Time runs out on me.
Hopefully we're not dead here. That's actually still a lot of damage, even though he doesn't have Vargoth. There's the other giant. So, is this going to be enough for him to win the game? Wow. That's a lot of damage. Now, if we had no way to clear this board, it would indeed be game over. Huh. Well, we have multiple ways to clear this board. And we've just shuffled those ways of clearing the board into our deck. So, yeah, this is great fun. Another Plague of Wrath, sure. Give me all the Plagues of Wrath. Perfectly happy with that. So we can just do this every turn. Just clear board again and again and again. Now what is pretty scary here though is that I don't have a hero power that armors up anymore. So if he were to ping me over 12 turns now, I would die. Unless I can find some armor gain from somewhere.
I'm out of cards.
No, he's out of cards. Alright, so it's a race to see who can survive and who can push the other over the edge. He's trying to push me over the edge with those pings every single turn. I'm hoping fatigue gets him.
Of course it's the right way.
So this is a race now. It is pings versus fatigue. Another Plague of Wrath. Wow. So we can be really easygoing here. We can be really liberal with our use of Plague of Wrath. There's no need to hold anything back. We've got so much in our hands still left that's going to clear board for us if we need it. And again with the ping. What we really need is N'Zoth the Corruptor. That's what we really need. That's what wins us the game here. That fatigue damage now for him really starting to add up.
We're gonna be rich.
Or maybe not, because there's Reno Jackson.
Double pump Azarano, extra star whip, high mount, nice room for mana spice coming right.
Okay, so he's going to be playing another Reno soon. And just in the nick of time, N'Zoth the Corruptor. Feels amazing. And just like that, all the healing back back into play, and it was definitely worthy of an emote there. Beating a Quest Mage feels amazing. Okay, so JumpyWizard's, Dead Man's Hand, N'Zoth, Hakkar Warrior. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have Hakkar, play this deck. It's just super fun to play, really engaging, really interesting. There is decision making involved. How greedy do you want to be with Dead Man's Hand is always a question that comes up in my head when I'm playing this deck. And often you do not need to go infinite with the deck. You can still survive against various opponents, even just getting 2 copies of N'Zoth the Corruptor that you can play on the board rather than infinite copies of the card. Nice to see the Death Lord in this deck. Normally I would say, oh gosh, Death Lord can lose the game for you if it brings out something big you can't deal with. Thankfully, this deck has lots of ways of dealing with big threats, whether it's Brawl, whether it is Plague of Wrath, whether it is a Shield Slam. There are different ways of getting the job done. So yes, Deathlord fitting in very, very well in this deck if you want to force out and then eliminate either a big threat or a combo piece. Okay. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, if you enjoyed what you've seen today, please drop me a like and a subscribe. I would be very grateful. And I will see you all again very soon, as always, for more Wild Mode fun.